Alright, all you fellow plasterers out there, I hope you're enjoying the bank holiday. I was contemplating going into work today, but the builder hasn't got the job ready, so we're enjoying the bank holiday, having a nice rest, well deserved I might add as well. And lo and behold, the weather seems alright, so we might be going to the park later. So whilst a few bits and pieces happening on, I figured I'd just do a quick little video, and what I want to talk about today was your hawk. Or if you like, your handboard. I mean, you call it what you want. In my opinion, this brand of hawk, Craft Tool Co, is the best hawk that I have ever owned. This is years old. I can't tell you how old it is. It's 16 inch, you can see it's quite large. I quite like a large hawk. I mean, I do have a couple of hawks. Go down, your normal hawk's normally about 13 inches. This is 16, so you can load it up a bit heavier. To be honest with you, being a 16, it's all right for the lighter materials. If I'm using sand cement or something, I tend to use the 13 because it's just less weight on there, because obviously sand cement's really, really heavy to use. And I tend to drop down to the smaller trowels as well. But what I think is great about this, and what makes it unique against a lot of other hawks, is the material it's made out of, and it's a magnesium hawk. Now, magnesium hawks, it's more expensive material, but it's so much stronger than your regular aluminium hawk. What happens is, over time, you can see this one's quite dirty. Over time, especially with the aluminium ones, when obviously the plaster keeps drying onto your hawk, and you clean it, you scrape it off and stuff like that. Over time with the aluminiums, the contraction of that plaster drying on it over and over and over again pulls the corners up. And we tend to get this going on. There's your hawk. We get this going on. Very corners will start pulling up. There's that bit like that. And that'll pull up over there like that. And you'll have a warped hawk. And what that does, it makes it a lot more difficult to get the gear off your hawk and onto the wall. Because when you run your straight trowel across there, so there's the edge of our trowel, it's straight, the trowel's hitting the two corners, and every time you go off the end, this little deficit here flicks a little bit of plaster on the floor. You'll see it all the time. So I see mate's like hawk, and it's like terrible shape, and he's been hitting it with a hammer and stuff like that and bending it, and it's just all over the place. And you just can't get the gear off cleanly. Every time I was watching him, flicking it, getting out, tiny little bit, it just flicked on the floor. Over the course of a day, that builds up, and you start treading it around. I mean, if you're on site, then maybe it's not so much an issue, but if you're in somebody's house and you need to stay clean, then it is an issue. So yeah, these magnesium ones are great because they hold their shape. They're light, and they're really low maintenance, in the sense that when I clean this off, I can't do it in here because it's my wife's therapy room. Okay, this is like quite a place to record these videos. All I do is get it over the skip, and I just pull it. There's no hitting it with the hammer. Just pull the edges just enough, because you know, over a period of time, the gear gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and you can feel it. You think, oh, that's time to pop that off. And when it gets thick enough, you'll just go out and you'll be able to pop it, and the plaster will come off, and then just give it a little help with a trowel to get the, all the loose bits off, and you're ready to rock and roll. Just, every few days, depends how much you're using it. So there you go. In my opinion, they are the best hawks. The other thing that happens, and it doesn't happen so much, happens with every hawk pretty much. So you saw the corners build up. After a while, you get an old hawk, and this will start happening. Okay, the middles will start wearing away. Okay, and again, we're back to the same problem. When you're running your trowel off of this edge, it clears that discrepancy, again, flicking a little bit on the floor. The aluminium ones do this much quicker than the magnesiums. I can't think of anything bad to say about a magnesium hawk. The only thing is, when back in the days that sometimes used to think about using brick acid or something to clean things off. It's not a good idea for trails or anything, because even the carbon steels, because the carbon steel can take it, but you've got the alloy rivets in there. You'll eat the rivet away, and you'll go to use it, and then the actual handle will come off of it. So you can't use brick acid. And I did one time when I was a little bit less experienced. Mate, he had some shovels and stuff like that. They can take the brick acid. I thought I'd just have a little. See if I can clean off my magnesium hawk with the brick acid, the solution he's got down there. So I just dipped it in there, just sunk it down, left the handle up, and I just left it a few seconds, and I thought I'd just better double check, that's all right. Literally, it was in there seconds. I took it out, the thing was smoking, right? It's magnesium, isn't it? Acid. It just, it was corroding so quick. But even after that, I still kept that hawk for quite a while. And it did take it for a little bit, but I never thought about putting it back in brick acid again, that's for sure. Right, so yeah, the aluminiums will do this and bend. The other type of hawk you can get, they're a lot thicker, and they're made of like that high density foam. There tends not to be. So on these aluminiums and magnesium, you have this little bit of rubber there to protect your knuckles. So the foam ones tend to be curved out like this anyway on the handle. It's like it's just molded into that shape. Problem with the foam ones, just so too weak. They don't last long. So sorry, talking about pricing. When I bought that was about 50-60 quid. Somebody just bought one the other day, I think it was the 13 version, and it was 50-60 quid ish. So they might have gone up a little bit, but if you're going to be a professional plasterer and you're going to be plastering day in, day out, it's with a lot of your tools, it's well worth buying a decent tool, and spending some money on a decent hawk is one of them. The aluminiums are alright, they're in the middle, but they will wear out and they will warp quite quickly. These foam ones, maybe if you're a DIY or something, I mean, you can get away with them, but they're just so weak, and they're brittle as well. They're made out of the same foam that the old floats used to be. And what will happen is the edges would wear down, like so. It possibly could warp as well. But the problem was that if you was working on a scaffold or something, or somebody, the hawk was on the floor like this, okay, and somebody trod on it, it's just so easily break, and you go through them. I can't even remember. I think you still can get them, but yeah, you'd go through so many of them if you're going to be using plastering all day, every day. If that's your job, stay away from that. But if you are plastering every day, you'll be bloody know that already. So that is the difference in the hawks. It's well worth paying the extra money for the magnesium. I mean, back in the day as well, you could only get it 13-inch hawks. So the guy I was working for, we used to make our own hawks out of ply, which was all right. Obviously, your ply board is going to be a bit thicker again. They used to hold, like we'd have a bit of batten or something, and then we'd have a little bit of car sponge. So we'd screw down through the board into the handle, and then we'd have a bit of car sponge that would be crushed in there, like your regular old sponge for washing your car or something. And that used to work really well, but where they were so rigid, and of course you could cut it to any size you wanted. So they used to work really well, but to clean them off, we used to have to hit them with a hammer because there's just no flex in the ply hardly at all. And being wood as well, it used to really bond, and over time the wood would start separating and that. So again, they didn't last. But I mean, if you've been plastering as long as I have, and there's been occasions when your hawk's got broken, or it's been left on a job or something, and you got to improvise really quickly. So a bit of batten and a bit of ply might last you a good couple of weeks or something like that if you need to do that. And the other problem with that was obviously it was so heavy by itself anyway, without even having any gear on it at all. So yeah, just a quick one today about hawks. And generally, if you are going to be a decent plasterer, plastering every day, then those magnesium craft coat Craft Tool Co. they're called. They're definitely, in my experience, the best hawks that money can buy. So that's it for today. Nice one, guys. Thanks very much for watching and all that. And stay tuned. We'll have some more videos up next week when we go into the new job. Cheers, guys.